What is going on, YouTube? Tropical NHL back here today for a brand new YouTube video talking about the Abs. We took a break this morning talking a bit about Mason McTavish and the Anaheim Ducks, but we're back talking about the Habs and talking about first overall pick of the last NHL entry draft, Juraj Slafkovsky. I never really made a video talking about what I think Juraj Slafkovsky is going to bring to the Montreal Canadiens. But yeah, let's get right into it. At first, when I was at the draft, and when I heard then Slavkovsky's name, I was pretty pissed off because I was one of Shane Wright's fanboy, and I wanted the Habs to pick Shane Wright. So I was pretty pissed off. I was like, bro, what the fuck? They missed out on Shane Wright. They've been talking that they needed a first line center for decades. They could draft one. They didn't. How stupid this is. They wanted to have a center for like the past 15 years. And now that you can have a top caliber center at the first overall pick, they don't pick him, blah, 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 blah. And then after I saw that Shane Wright went down to fourth overall, and I was just like, all right, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's something about Shane Wright that made the scouts a bit shaky about taking him. I think that, don't get me wrong, he's going to be an insane player, but how good will Slafkovsky be? He's a huge left winger. He shots left, and he played in the SM Liga this season. When most of people look at his stats in the SM Liga, like I did the days before the draft, we were like, how is this guy like on the number one position in some specialist mock drafts? He only got 5 goals and 5 assists in 31 games. That's worse than Kotkaniemi's, worse than Puljujarvi, worse than Kaapo Kakko in the same league in their draft years. And we all know what happened with those guys. Flop, flop, flop. So are we going to see Slafkovsky? Well, I guess we'll see. He did actually better in the playoffs, and the assembly guy got 7 points in 18 games, which is actually pretty good in the playoffs playing with adults. So yeah, that's a bit better there. I think that's probably because he was getting more ice time in the playoffs than he was in the regular season, because the playoff came around after the Olympics, and in the Olympics he did absolutely insane. So that's probably the reason why. Yeah, in the regular season, I don't have the stats, but most of the time when there's a young player in the assembly Liga, they don't play him much. So I expect his ice time to be around 9 to 10 minutes. So he didn't play much. For him to get 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points in 31 games isn't that good, but it isn't that bad either. He did way better in the playoffs, and that's a good news. That's good news in my opinion. In the last year's World Junior, in the 2021 World Juniors, he played apparently. I didn't know about that because they never talked about Slafkovsky back then. He wasn't a thing. He wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, in 5 games he got 0 points, but it was a +5. So that shows a lot. +5 is pretty good when you don't have any points. In the Olympics, like we all know, he got the MVP. He scored 7 goals in 7 games playing against adults in a high caliber hockey. That's really good. And some of the goals he scored were absolutely insane. Like, really good. So now I kind of feel better about the Habs taking Slafkovsky. I think it's still his high-risk move, because players like him who got drafted in the years prior flopped. So there's a high flop risk, but there's also a high success rate. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. He's probably going to play a couple of games at the beginning of the season, depending on how good he does in camp. But yeah, I expect Slafkovsky, if he can get to his full potential in his prime, to be around a point per game player, maybe 30 to 35 goals and 75 to 80 points. I don't think he's a franchise player. I don't think there will be any franchise player out of this draft. Maybe a guy that came out of the radar like in the later rounds will like come out of nowhere and become a franchise player, a bit like Kucherov, a bit like Pasternak. But as of right now, I don't see any players becoming a franchise player. But I think that Slafkovsky is going to be one of the best player out of this draft if he can reach his full potential. I hope, for God's sakes, that the Habs don't fuck him up. I know that you guys don't want me to swear in the videos, but like I needed to say don't fuck him up because that's the term. So yeah, I can't wait to see him play, see how good he is. I would have loved him to be in the World Juniors with Simon Nemec and Philip Machar with Slovakia. It would have been good to see how good he was doing at that tournament. I think it would have been good for his development too, but apparently he didn't want it to go. So yeah, maybe in December, if he's not with the Habs, if he's with the Laval, maybe they'll let him go at the World Juniors in December, and we will be able to see how good he does. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section about Juraj Slafkovsky. I think it was kind of a risky move, but still the right decision to pick him. I hope it won't haunt us in like 3 or 4 years. I hope that Shane Wright does well, but not too well, because if he gets that franchise caliber uh, in his career, to that franchise caliber level in his career, I'll be pissed off. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. It's been your boy Tropical NHL, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for 2 new videos. Bye bye.